Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Oosh Brothers podcast. We are 2 episodes away from going to the UK. It's going to be a massive trip. If you are just joining us, my name is Malloy and my co-star is Louie. If you are Curtis, Jasmine, or Jonathan, welcome back. As always, you guys are our mainstays, our valued listeners. Obviously, this is a part of Curtis's Wednesday routine. Jonathan probably bumps this after school. And to be honest, I haven't really heard much in the way of analytics from Jasmine, but I know she's out there too. So, obviously in this podcast, we go over the week that was. We sort of poke holes in things that we found amusing. It mostly just is an excuse to yarn with my younger brother, to be honest. Go over some of the shit that happened over the weekend, during the week. Basically just fucking shooting the breeze. Speaking of shooting the shit, Louie, how's it going, man?
Yeah, it's going good, dude. I'm crowning at the moment.
Yeah, touching cloth.
As the ancient Romans would say, Hannibal is indeed at the gates. So, but yeah, so it's a bit of a struggle because I would like to go for a shit, but I don't want to do the listeners that disservice of listening to me shit. So,
it's not just the listeners, though. Like, I would have to sit here, and I'm like, you forget that you and I are on camera. So there's one element where people might hear the occasional plop, but then there's your older brother sitting what looks to be directly across from you, watching your face screw up as you force out an almighty shit. Yeah. So we take the good with the bad, I think.
Well, okay, I don't think I can hold it. Do you want to talk to the listeners while I shit for like, I don't know. I'll be back anyway. I shan't be long, but you chat with the listeners. You update them on.
So this is a live dump dump break for the first time.
Update them on what we're up to, and
yeah, absolutely.
I'll be back.
Right the fucko. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you've been left with one of the Oosh Bros. It is your boy, BB Malloy. This is normally the part of the podcast where we will do the check-in, so I will do my half of the check-in. Maybe we might go over some shit that has been going on. So last week on Wednesday, when the podcast came out, last episode, we had football training. I turned up to football training. I went into a bit of a dodgy tackle, fell over, and gave myself an AC sprain. And an AC sprain is where the collarbone joint and the shoulder joint decide to separate for a little bit and then pop back together with some potential ligament damage and a little bit of swelling. So we're coming up, is it a week or 2 weeks? No, it's just a week. A week since the injury happened. Shit sore, dude. Like, I ended up off work Thursday, Friday with a doctor's note, and ACC got approved, so thank the sweet Jesus. That ACC got approved, because this way my work can't bitch about me taking a couple of days off for your boy's health, both mental and physical. And then so despite the doctor's orders, who told me to rest up, ice it, yada yada yada, I did end up going to the football game on Saturday. Still put in a shift, had a good couple of shots on target, wasn't all bad. Didn't score any goals, unfortunately, but that's, these things happen. And we ended up winning 6-3. So, like, not a bad day out, to be honest with you. Great food down at Carterton too. If any of you boys are listening, like, I know that Bob is in the comments on my TikTok videos. I don't know if he listens to the pod as well. But yeah, shout out Bob. That man, the dirty fryers. They made like deep fried chips, and then they smothered them in like cheese, jalapenos, like tomato, and it was just glorious. However they did. Oh, there was chorizo sausage in there as well. Fucking rips. So good. I only had one plate though. Your boy was looking after himself, okay? Big boy Malloy had one plate of food, which is something that I never thought I'd say out loud. But anyway, so we won the game 6-3. Shoulder was still kind of singing, it was doing its thing. It's been okay. I don't really want to have to wear the arm sling because it's way less comfortable than just not wearing the arm sling. Like, it hurts, but not as much as it did. Today is Tuesday. We had to push it a couple of days. Had a birthday in the family. As of the date of recording this, is the 19th anniversary of our little brother's passing. So shout out our boy Jack. Gone but not forgotten, 100%. But yeah, so tomorrow I will 100% be going to training. Like, regardless of how bad my shoulder hurts. I could be dying of stage 4, and as long as I've got a pair of boots and a will, there is a way, and that way is going down to the fucking football ground and kicking the ball around with the boys. Like, I really don't ever want to miss out on an opportunity to kick a ball around. And I know there's quite a few lads in the team that feel that way as well. One of our boys plays on what is essentially a broken ankle, and he probably should have had surgery at some point, but he just keeps putting it off. So, shout out him. I think he knows who he is too. Speaking of him, I won't shout him out on the podcast. I don't know if he's comfortable with that or what, but what I can tell you is he's an Arsenal fan. And we found out that recently we are going to be staying in a place called Stoke Newington, which is in South London, well, South-ish London. And when I had a look at it on Google Earth today, I was just having a look, the surrounding areas, what restaurants are in the area. I am massively type A personality when it comes to being organized. You guys should see the fucking Notion page that I put together for this thing. It is crazy. Like, it goes super in depth. Money saved. I worked out cost analysis for like how much we can spend per day in what area. Conversion rates from New Zealand dollars to Great British pounds to euros. Whatever it is that we need is absolutely organized. We are going to visit the Louvre in Paris. We are going to the Sistine Chapel in Rome and the Colosseum. We're going to Edinburgh, so we're going renting a car and we're driving up to one of our ancestral homes, and then we're shooting across to a place called Doune Castle, which for my Monty Python fans out there is where they filmed most of Monty Python and the Holy Grail, one of my favorite Monty Python films of all time. So we're heading out there to do that. We are obviously heading up the Manchester Derby that I've mentioned many, many times. That's now been moved to the Sunday. And because it's been moved to the Sunday, there is a big chance that we could head up the Salford City versus Gillingham FC game on my actual birthday. So we'll go and do the stadium tour and then head across to Salford. It's like a 5-minute Uber. And then watch a nice, National League game where they're fighting to get up into the higher leagues of football. So they are not mucking around, those boys. They are professional footballers who are paid to play, and there's no ego. They know what level they're at. They know that they're getting closer and closer to being over the hill, and they're willing to just throw it all in the ring and make sure that they can see their team get promoted. It's what happened to Ipswich. It's what happened to Luton Town. It just shows that, the more work ethic you put in, the better off your club's going to be in the long run. There are some young players that have been with Ipswich Town since they were like 16 who are now, not playing in the Vanarama National League anymore. Though them boys are in the fucking Prem, playing proper level football. Anyway, so yeah, we might go and see the Salford City game. Obviously, famously, it's owned by the Class of '92. So, if those of you who don't know who the Class of '92 is, it is Phil Neville, Gary Neville, Nicky Butt, Paul Scholes, Ryan Giggs, and I think there's someone else as well. But basically, they played for Manchester United in 1992. They were the academy team, and those 5 or 6 lads or whatever won everything there is to win in football. One of the most decorated, some of the most decorated players in the entire game, and they own Salford City. It's, obviously very close to Manchester. They've got very good ties with United, that kind of thing. And there's a derby the following day, so there's a very, very good chance the owners will be there. So it'd be fucking amazing for me to use my social media powers to try and get a picture with those absolute legends of the game. That'd be sick, and it would certainly help my 6 degrees of separation bizzo as well. So yeah, I'm definitely in a place where the excitement's starting to build, but it's also not at a point where it's like I can't really comprehend it yet. So for those of you who know me, and for those of you who don't know me, and for those of you who do also, you'll know that I was born here, born in Hamilton, raised in Hamilton for the most part. Moved to Australia for 4 or 5 years, and when I came back, my mum was living here in the Wairarapa, and we've sort of just been here ever since. When it comes to travelling, me personally, I've never been any further than Adelaide. So Adelaide is the farthest away that I've been from home at one time. Louie, on the other hand, has been to Japan and the UK and Poland and the US and Canada. He's been all over the place. He's been from fucking, here, there, and everywhere. And I kind of feel like he had a bit of a point to prove, because at one stage we were told as kids that our dad had gone to see a psychic. And the psychic had said that your youngest son will stay at home until he's 35 and your oldest son will travel the world, right? So there's always been this chip on his shoulder about that. Not really sure why that is. I mean, he did stay home for quite a while. He was in his mid-20s by the time he actually, hauled ass and got off, got off mum's couch. But since then he's gone and traveled the world, and he's moved to Wellington, and he's doing the thing. He's killing the game, and I couldn't be prouder of him. And he's probably not even going to hear this because he doesn't even listen back to the pods or whatever. So shout out the bro. And yeah, so this has been my first time traveling any further than Adelaide, and what a way to do it than to travel to the furthest away possible country that I possibly can. So yeah, pretty exciting times. That's 2 weeks from today, actually, which is wild. So by this time in 2 weeks, where will we be? So we would have left the ground at 4. We would have landed in Australia by now. Our plane is probably taking off from Sydney about now in 2 weeks' time, and we're just about to start the 14-hour trek to Abu Dhabi, which is going to be just insane, because by the time it clocks over to local time and stuff, that 14 hours puts us at UK time essentially 7 o'clock in the morning. 5 o'clock in the morning. And then we jump on another plane and we head to London, which is going to be about 7 hours. And we get into London at 12:30 local time. So, hopefully jet lag be damned, because your boy's got to travel up to Liverpool the next day, stay with some friends of his. Shout out Lewis, shout out Maggie. They are, taking your boy in for an evening. And on the 4th of April, I'm going to play the infamous Cavern Club in Liverpool. Going to do some jams, pick up a guitar, and have a bit of a sing song to put that on the musical CV, which is pretty fucking cool. And then, so head across to Manny, see the fucking derby, obviously, yada, 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 and then see if we can hit up the rest of Europe. Now, the other thing too, and this is something I wanted to run by you guys specifically, obviously, there's, I'm in two minds about it, and I'll explain to you why. For those of you who know their music, you'll know who Van Morrison is, okay? If you don't know who Van Morrison is, he sang Brown Eyed Girl, which everyone will know. If not, your parents will know it. He also did a huge body of work, okay? And the reason why I bring this up, there's two reasons why I bring this up. First reason, Van Morrison means a lot to my family. So my mum is a huge Van Morrison fan, brought us up on his music. And when families split up, normally there's two sides to everything, right? So and a lot of people get bitter enough that they start doing the opposite of what each other was doing just to sort of affirm that split. What my parents didn't do was split in ways of music. So dad loves Bowie, mum loves Bowie. Dad loves Led Zeppelin, mum loves Led Zeppelin. It's the same with Van Morrison. To a point where the reason why I'm speaking about this today is obviously the 19th anniversary since our brother's passing, but our brother's funeral song was Bright Side of the Road by Van Morrison. A song that's very, very close to my heart. A song that I, will bump when I'm feeling low. It's a pretty happy song. I've bumped it a couple of times today in honor of Jack. And I found out, just doing some fucking googly wooglies, that Van Morrison is playing in Belfast. He's doing a Monday night show and a Tuesday night show, and I could probably get the whole thing wrapped up for 350 New Zealand dollars. So that's flights to Belfast, tickets to see Van Morrison, and accommodation overnight, just so I can see the bro one time. And he's not coming out here ever again. Dude's 80, okay? And he is Irish. Like that's where he lives. That's we're lucky to see him do shows there, to be completely honest with you. He does some shows in the States every so often, and then he scarpers back home, and I'm pretty sure he lives in the UK. So, there's no way he's coming out to Oceania, be it Australia, be it New Zealand, or anywhere even fucking close. Obviously, we're at the arse end of the world, and we're lucky if anyone comes out here at all, let alone, on purpose. Sorry, nice big yawn there for the listeners. But the caveat to this, right, is that so much of the trip is already booked up. So we get in on the 2nd, we spend the evening with my uncle, and then on the 3rd, I leave on a train. I go to Liverpool. I'm gone. Louie is staying in Manchester, in London for an extra day before he comes up to Manchester. Which is fine, he's going to need that extra day. I am so fucking determined and so meticulously planned that I'm not letting anything get in the way of what I want from this trip, because I'm not sure when I'm going to go back. I'm turning 30 in 2 weeks. This is the first time I've done like a huge amount of travel, and it's something that I've wanted to do my entire life. So, I need to make sure that I squeeze every last drop of adventure out of this. So from the 3rd right up until the 12th of April, so we're looking at 9 straight days, we are not in London. And then Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are the only days we're actually within arm's reach of our uncle with nothing planned. So there's a football game on the Saturday, which is in London. We're going to the Den to watch Millwall versus Middlesbrough. So we should be catching like 4 games while we're over there, which we're very excited about. And then after that, I think we're shooting up to Nottingham to get on the piss with some mates. Right? So that's a 2.5-hour trip. Knocks most of Saturday out. We might even stay and get on the piss, like Sunday. Who knows? But then, so Van Morrison's doing a Monday night show and a Tuesday night show in Belfast. I have been told that I don't really want to get into the habit of upsetting anyone because there's already so much planned. I don't plan on taking Louie for the simple fact that he at this stage he probably can't afford it. But not only that, I think Van Morrison in a sense probably means a whole lot more to me than it does to Louie. And that's kind of where I'm at with it personally. But I don't think I'm ever going to get this chance to see Van Morrison again. So I might have to bite the bullet and piss some people off to get what I want. Not an uncommon theme in my life so far, but then again, what I've achieved, I've pissed a lot of people off to get where I am at. Karmically, when it comes to the universe and in the sense of karma, I haven't done anything out of spite in terms of getting ahead, because that doesn't thrill me, it doesn't please me, and it doesn't sort the universe out, it doesn't make me look favorable to anybody, including myself. So, I'm not actively trying to piss anybody off, but if you weigh up the pros and cons, if you had an opportunity to see a childhood hero in a space where he is naturally going to be at his best, and you are not sure if you're ever going to be able to see him in the flesh ever again, you'd be stupid not to take that opportunity. So I think venting, I've just answered the question myself, but yeah, I mean, like if you hear this and you have a different opinion and you want to let me know what your thoughts are based on like what you've heard just now, drop me a DM over at BB Malloy. Leave a comment on this on Spotify or YouTube or whatever it is that wherever it is you listen to our podcast, and let us know. But thankfully, rejoining us on the microphone, MC Louie G, in the place to be, with Cool Mo D of the Treacherous 3, etc., etc., etc. Oh my god, I need a drink. I just yawned for like a good 15 minutes straight. Oh yeah, okay. The sippage is premium, and it's good to go. Yeah, so he has joined me again, but I don't know where he's at. Can you hear us? Oh, no. I think your AirPod... Oh, no, your microphone's off. Yeah, there he is. There he is. Right, so I was just telling the good people, obviously today is the 19th anniversary of our brother's passing. So massive shout out to Jack, wherever you may be, my guy. But I told him about Van Morrison, The Bright Side of the Road being his funeral song, and that there's an opportunity to see Van the Man in the flesh, and spend a solid 24 hours in Belfast and grab myself a Guinness and, see another part of the world that I would not normally get to see, but at the expense of potentially making someone upset or making some people upset in the process. So I actually wanted to see what your thoughts were on this, because from where I'm sitting, I'd like to think that I should be able to do this on my own volition. I feel like if you kicked it with Uncle Matt, he would feel less ditched. But yeah, what are your thoughts? I don't know, would you, because it's going to cost roughly $350 New Zealand to go and see Van Morrison in Belfast, right? That's accommodation, tickets, and flights. Is that something that you would want to do, or you could feasibly financially do, or would you prefer to kick it in London with Uncle Matt?
I'd kick it with Uncle Matt, get on the piss, go
Sweet.
to the pub.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. I'm not a big drinker myself. That as far as plans go, when we asked him, what he wanted to show us, and things he wanted to do.
He said the pub.
The pub, yeah. That was the entire and as a person who doesn't really drink, if at all, Guinness doesn't count. I feel like you can just drink Guinness. That's different. But to be able to sink a couple of pints in an actual Irish pub, not an Irish pub that's owned by some grizzly fucking Kiwi who hates his job, not an Irish pub that's owned by some rando fucking Aussie whose great-great-great-grandfather was some fucking, random Irish convict who got kicked out of the country. This is an actual Irish pub with Irish people in Ireland having a Guinness. And then finishing up that Guinness, jumping in an Uber, traveling to the town centre and seeing Van Morrison. Arguably one of Ireland's greatest exports in the flesh, playing some of my favourite music of all time. So, basically I've just answered my own question, but I don't know. I'd like to hear your thoughts, because it is a pretty big undertaking, but I feel like it's something I have to do.
I mean, you know me, dog. Do what makes you happy. I'm not really bothered. If you want to go see Van Morrison, I'll fucking chill with Uncle Matt.
This is why you and I make such a good team. Okay? And it's not because you've just told me exactly what I want to hear, although it is exactly what I want to hear. We have two so separate personality types, right?
Mm.
And this is something that I've dwelled on during this whole process of planning the trip. I would feel way more pissed off if you were in the Notion every day changing shit, or if you were messaging me every day changing shit. I'd be super fucked off, because it would be like, okay, no, this is what I've planned, and this is what I want to do, and this is what I've got organized, and I've called this person, and I've managed to arrange this deal for us, and I've kept it on the cheap, and I've done this, and I've done that. And I've managed to roll with the punches, the game getting rescheduled, which fucked up the AC Milan plans, but now we get an extra couple of days in Rome, etc., etc. All of that stuff to be changed around. Very type A personality settings, jumping in and just fucking getting it sorted down to a T. Not overcooking it to the point where it's unbearable, but definitely doing something about it to the point where we're going to enjoy ourselves and see a really, really decent amount of Europe.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so originally, and I will put my hand on my heart and say that I was wrong when we first got this booked, and it was only looking like 2 weeks. When it was only looking like a week, I seriously crammed in as much as I possibly could. It was a PSG game versus, I think, Genoa.
No, that's Italian.
Okay, no, who was it? Who was it they were playing then? It was some fucking bottom of the table team that no one gives a fuck about in Ligue 1. And then we were going to catch the train to Paris, then we were going to do this, and we were going to do that. And it was going to be down to the 15 minutes that we had between flights and fucking whatever else. Whereas I've just explained to the viewers and the listeners what we're going to be doing and how much time we've got in between, car rental and all that kind of stuff. I feel like we should be able to get away with, just having a good time.
Yeah.
Now that everything's planned, now that everything's not set in stone, but we have a rough guideline of what we want to achieve, I feel like we've got a real good grip on what it is that we're going to be doing.
Yeah. It'll be a lot more chill, I reckon, now.
And considering we've got space in between, like April 6th, we're heading off to the derby. We've got the full day. Game will finish up at maybe 6, whatever it is. Stick around, see if we can, meet some footballers or get autographs or whatever the mood takes us, bro. Like whatever we want to do. Same with on my birthday. We're not rushing around to do shit now. On the 7th, when we fly to Rome, that's not until 5 o'clock in the afternoon. We've got a full day in Manny just to do whatever the fuck. We're not rushing to get to the airport. We're not freaking out. And then, we get to Rome at a reasonable time. I think it's 8:30 in the evening. Have a nice Italian meal, and then spend the whole next day, and then the whole following day just wandering around the ancient city of Rome and soaking in the culture and enjoying ourselves, And then Paris is going to be the next day. Bit of a whirlwind trip to Paris, it's all of this stuff. Now that it's booked and it's a little bit more loosey-goosey, is a lot easier to manage. And it's a lot easier to enjoy ourselves rather than trying to cram as much into each individual day as we possibly can. So I took it when the game was rescheduled. I saw it as a bit of a sign from the universe, bro. Because not only did the United game get rescheduled,
interruptions.
Oh, are you there?
Yeah, you were lagging out a bit.
Okay. So not only are we, I feel like it's a sign from the universe, right? And that the Dow provides, and the reason why I say this is because not only was the Manchester United game rescheduled to the Sunday, the AC Milan game was rescheduled to the Saturday, to the Saturday. So they essentially swapped days. We were never meant to go to both of those games. So that was the way of, I reckon that was the universe's way of telling us that we were never meant to try and cram both of those games into 2 days. Even if we had rescheduled the trip so that we could make it to both or whatever the fuck, they would have rescheduled the AC Milan game to be on the day before anyway, and it would have fucked up all of the plans we originally had.
Yeah.
So from where I'm sitting, I'm from this point on, now that we have a rough guideline of what we're after, I'm keen to just go with the flow. I've got enough money saved. I did another brand deal the other day, so your boy's got a little bit of extra dosh. I might just do the backpack thing instead of paying for extra baggage and just wing it. Just fucking have a good time. I don't want to be lugging a suitcase around everywhere. Maybe we do just wing it. We just see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm easy as dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. But honestly, I feel like if I wasn't me and you weren't you, if we had both the same personality type, we would fucking hate each other. I'd put money on that. If you and I were both kickback, chill people who didn't have any drive for this particular sort of shit. You've got drive for YouTube, you've got drive for other stuff, but not drive for this sort of shit, in terms of organization and shit. Nothing would get done, and we'd be really shitty at each other that nothing got done. If we were both type A personality people, we'd both be changing each other's shit and the notion and, fucking each other's vibe completely up, and we'd hate each other. But because we're so different, I feel like that's why we're proper best mates. We complement each other so well. Yeah. Listeners, if you can get yourself a brother like I've got, honestly, get one, because it's fucking dope. I won't lie. And I'm going to speak on Louie's behalf and say that having a brother like me fucking rips also. And yeah, so that's pretty much where that's at. I basically just had a big fucking half an hour yarn about the trip and how excited I am. And to be honest with you, next week's episode is probably going to feature me fucking spouting off about how excited I am too. I told them how I fucked up my shoulder. I gave, a big RIP to our boy Jack. Yeah. So, the check-in. How's it going, man? How's your week?
It's been good, dude. Just working. Still, doing YouTube stuff. I've been stuck at the same amount of subscribers for ages, which is kind of disheartening, because one of my videos is actually it's I wouldn't say gaining traction, but it's definitely reaching an outside audience,
Yeah.
which is cool. But unfortunately, it's just not converting into subscribers or uh, returning viewers, which is a bit of a shame. So, um, yeah, I mean, I guess I just have to keep kind of plowing along. Hopefully, the next video I put out will change that.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the analytics now, and oddly enough, um, like the Shmoyoho video, uh, because it tells you the content that suggests the video.
Yeah.
So, like, one of them is a Curtis Connor video,
So
and then the
is
other
this
one's
on the
like,
dashboard?
no, this is on this is on the Studio app.
Oh, here we go. Content suggesting this video. I hadn't actually seen this before. Okay. So in terms of where my traffic is coming from, browse features is 78.7%, which means people are coming to YouTube and looking for my content, which is
Yeah.
really good to know. Like that means that people are actually actively seeking me out to see what my content looks like. And have done so in a big way for this video. So we're 409 views, which is 289 more than usual, which it fucking is awesome. And it's 97 unique viewers as well, which means roughly 300 people are already subscribers. And in terms of Facebook and Instagram, a couple of people came through from there. That's only 3.2% of my traffic. 0.7% of people have come through from YouTube search terms. So someone searched for Woodstock 99 and someone searched for N1 Casino and found my fucking video, apparently. Shout out to that bitch. I hope that no one uses my link and comes through. I'm taking that fucking bag and I'm running with it. I appreciate you. So content suggesting this video only makes up 12.5%, but it is Tampa is better than this, I swear. Not sure what the fuck that has to do with anything. Daniel's meth and alcohol consumption destroys his artistic ambitions. Intervention A&E. Bert Kreischer sweats profusely eating spicy wings. So Hot Ones suggest someone watching Hot Ones. Well, a few people watching Hot Ones were suggested my video and click through. From Crapcom to Cap God. Not really sure what the fuck that is. Tom Green versus 4chan. Tales from the Internet.
Okay.
Oh, there's more. Okay. Reading terrible creepypastas. Types of people in 2023. Chris Chan, the worst speedrun ever. Passport Bros, the incels cheat code. It's a Papa Meat video. One from Internet Theory. I watched all 34 Disney sequels and ruined my life. And then it just sort of drops off from there. The most offensive children's movie. So I think a lot of there's a lot of overlap, but when it comes to like Papa Meat and because look, I hate saying it because he's not the most conventionally attractive man on the planet, but I kind of look like the guy a little bit, which does terrible things for my self-esteem, but, you know, like, if you don't know who Papa Meat is, it's worth a Google. His content's really fucking good, and he's an incredible animator, and just a fantastic person. Like, you know, the way he's gone about his content is just fucking amazing, and I wish I could be half the creator he is. Like, he got mentioned in a fucking Simpsons episode. You know, like, that's that in a recent Simpsons episode, someone said, Bart was like, I just want to chill at home and drink, you know, insert popular drink here and watch Papa Meat videos, which Papa Meat apparently had, like, no idea about. He was just like, oh my God, what just happened? What's this? Okay, so impressions in the first 2 days and 19 hours, I've seen 17,751 impressions on this Woodstock video. Average view is more than twice as much. And yeah, this is cool, man. I didn't realize this was going to happen, but so I mean, I reckon the follow-up should probably be a good video too, in theory. Like, I've got a couple in the pipeline. I've got one that's like Noah's Ark and how much of a shitty fucking disaster movie that was. I've got the real Crocodile Dundee. So the movie was based on a guy. The guy got ripped off, didn't get any money out of it, and then lost his mind and got into a shootout with the cops and died. Pretty crazy story. I won't lie, I had a bit of a cry today, which is so out of left field. I'm very sorry about this, but I had a bit of a cry today. I was already pretty emotional about this being Jack's the day of Jack's passing, but then I watched this video, right? I've been doing some research on Bobby Driscoll and like a bunch of child actors, and how Disney fucked a lot of kids over, and like a lot of, like, MGM was the fucking worst at how they treated their young actors back in the 30s and 40s. But I wasn't 100% aware of how bad the abuse in Hollywood was, especially back in that time where there was no one to be held accountable for this sort of shit. And I got a little bit teary, bro, because these kids dealt with some fucking shit, man. Getting fed drugs, getting beaten, sexual assault, like, you name it, these kids had to go through it. Fucking manipulation. Jackie Cooper was, like, synonymous with, you know, like, they used to call him Crying Cooper, because he was, like, whenever he cried on screen, it gave such a powerful performance that, like, he was the youngest person ever nominated for a juvenile Oscar at 8 years old because of his appearance, like, crying in a fucking film. And he was an incredible actor for his time. But they had this weird fucking disgusting trope called boy wives in 30s and 40s movies. And it was super fucked up, like, to the point where like the young boy in the movie would take the place of where a female would normally be in that movie. There would be nothing sexual, and nothing particularly sexual implied either. But the idea was that, so Jackie Cooper would be the guy who looks after. There was a movie called The Champ, and he plays this young kid who looks after his dad, who is a ex-prize fighting champion who is now an alcoholic. But essentially, this kid looks after his dad the same way a wife would. And there's an underlying tone of, like, you know, I can fix him energy coming from this fucking, like, 8-year-old kid, right? And then when the champ finally does find a missus, or, you know, a lady to look after him kind of buzz, Jackie Cooper gets jealous and basically gives his dad an ultimatum. It's either me or the skirt, was the way that it's put. But because he's got one of those, like, you know, 30s New York accents, it's the skoit. It's either me or the skoit, pop. Like, and you know, it's pretty cringe, all things considered. But because this formula worked and Jackie Cooper was able to cry on command most of the time, like, it got to a point where he was sick of being manipulated, so the director threatened to shoot his dog in front of the entire fucking, like, cast and shit until Jackie Cooper cried. But the same sort of, like, young man, old man, weirdly close relationship vibe within these movies started to become such a theme for Jackie Cooper. But MGM and Disney were just fucking horrible to their child stars. Horrible. And I was going to make a video about it, but you know my content. It's very lighthearted. It's very, sort of poke fun at, certain aspects of whatever I'm talking about. And I had an idea for this where I was going to talk about how badly these studios fucked over these kids. But I just don't want to touch it now. Like, after watching that video, I started to well up, bro, because those kids were so poorly mistreated. Bobby Driscoll was treated like shit, and he's still a household name to this day. Like, Disney still makes millions a year off Bobby Driscoll's image, whether it be the original Treasure Island or Peter Pan or any of the stuff that he's done in the past. Merchandise, any of that sort of shit, because they were making money off his likeness. He's the original, artistic design for Peter Pan as well. And if you look at a picture of him and a picture of Peter Pan, you'll see exactly what I mean. But they make millions of dollars off his image every single year, year in, year out, and he never got to see a dime. He died at 31 in an abandoned building, and some kids found him. Like, he'd been a heroin addict. He had given a letter to Andy Warhol, because he was hanging out with the artsy bunch in the 60s. He'd given a letter to Andy Warhol to give to Truman Capote, and Truman Capote was going to write a biography about him in order to raise a little bit of money so that he could get some medical treatment, because his arteries were starting to harden from all the fucking heroin use.
Yeah.
Andy Warhol didn't give Truman Capote the letter. He hung on to it.
Cool.
Yeah. And if you didn't need any more evidence that Andy Warhol was an insufferable piece of shit, this is exactly why. Fuck pop art. Like, honestly, in the 60s, like, just, if there was two people I would want to throw hands with, bro, it's John Lennon and Andy Warhol. Honestly, I fucking can't stand the cunts. And it's not about separating art from the artist. Fucking John Lennon was a wife-batching, fucking child-abusing piece of shit. I don't give a fuck how good of a songwriter he was. I love the Beatles. I will listen to that shit as often as I want to. And when it comes to separating the art from the artist in terms of what he did with the Beatles and shit, I'm all there for it. But sitting there being a peace-loving fucking, give peace a chance and all that kind of shit, fuck off. Like, he was one of the slimiest fucking people on planet Earth, bro.
I was watching there was a scene from the movie yesterday. I haven't seen it myself. But there's like a scene where the main character goes and meets John Lennon. And he's like this 80-year-old dude that's just like peaceful living in his house, and I was like, well, I mean, maybe if the fame didn't get to him, he would be like that, but still, he was a piece of shit. So
yeah, he was just the worst. Like, one of the things that, because he wrote the song "Beautiful Boy" about Sean Ono Lennon, right? He wrote the song, and it's synonymous with like fathers and sons. Whenever a movie trope of a father and son relationship comes up, "Beautiful Boy" plays in the background. Fucking Peabody and Sherman, a couple of movies from the early 2000s have that in the background soundtrack. Sean was 8, right? And was learning to cut steak on his own. 8 years old. And he didn't know how to do it properly, so he kept fucking it up. And instead of explaining it to him, John Lennon got so shitty that he got within an inch of his ear and screamed as loud as possible, perforating his eardrum and giving him lifelong hearing loss in that ear. Because he couldn't cut steak properly at 8 years old. You've essentially ruined your son's hearing.
Yeah.
How much of a piece of shit do you have to be? You know what I mean? Like, if it wasn't the way he treated fans, if it wasn't the way he beat the shit out of Cynthia Lennon, beat the shit out of his first son and abandoned them like they were trash, fucking groveled with this just disgusting cuck energy at the feet of the worst, performance artist in the history of performance art, and then pretended like he was, so in love with her and all this kind of shit. He's just one of those people that can go fuck themselves, bro. Like, I feel the same way about Andy Warhol. I feel like he's a pretentious piece of shit, and his pop art is fucking worthless and meaningless. I I used to absolutely adore Walt Disney. I wanted to name one of my sons, or like Fergus was potentially going to be named Elias because that's Walt Disney's middle name. Walter Elias Disney. That's his full name. And then I learned how much of a piece of shit Walt Disney was. That did not take long. Like, after a 20-minute Google, I figured out how much of a fucking piece of shit that dude was, man. Holy bollocks. Like, the anti-Semitism, the way he treated child stars, like firing his entire animation staff and calling them communists because they took like an extra day off after their fucking like staff do that they had to fucking pay for out of their own pocket. Like, yeah, come up to this chateau. We've hired this entire skiing chateau. Come up and enjoy. You guys have been working really hard. We've pumped out 3 movies a year for the last decade, and now we're finally giving you something back. Oh, by the way, we've rented the chateau, but you've got to pay for food, drink, how to get there, how to get home, and any activities you wanted to do, like skiing or whatever. Oh, okay. Well, we may as well go ham. We're already here. And then take an extra day, to deal with the hangover or whatever, and all of a sudden they're communists and they're all fired. Like, it's yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah.
There was no one to hold these people accountable. Like, not until the Me Too movement was anyone held accountable for sexual misconduct. And even now, people get away with it in such disgusting ways. Like, fucking Jimmy Savile got away with it. And, like, he died getting away with it.
Yeah, one of my favorite Jimmy Savile jokes is it's from a Rocket Powered Mohawk video, and he said Jimmy Savile donated so much money to he donated a whole lot of money to a hospital that he was using as a sushi restaurant, which I thought was really funny.
Ugh.
Yeah, which is fairly accurate because that's exactly what he was doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Grody.
yeah. Then there was, I think it was the same video where he said, like, what is it? Michael Jackson's Neverland was full of children's corpses, which again, probably not true, but still very funny. Um, but yeah, I do feel bad for Michael Jackson because he was like, he was obviously a weird dude, but that's because he was never able to properly mature. Like he was always. Like he was a child star and he was always treated as such, and then he just kind of didn't have the life skills to adapt properly. So obviously he's going to be weird around kids,
Yeah.
But
Well,
that's
I mean,
because
if
he's
you never
always
got a
a
chance to
child.
be a kid, that's that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's kind of the vibe. Like, there's so many people that wholeheartedly stand by the fact that Michael would never have hurt anybody. Like, influential people who, for no other reason, like they don't have any reason to be loyal to this person, other than the fact that they
yeah,
were like friends or even acquaintances. And the Leaving Neverland people got found out to be full of shit as well.
mm,
Like Macaulay Culkin swears up and down that Michael would never hurt anybody. Corey Feldman, who was actually sexually assaulted multiple fucking times by
yeah,
so many fucking heads of studios and agents, and that poor cunt, like obviously he's fucking out of his mind. Obviously he's like this, overperforming fucking Christian weirdo who absolutely craves attention. Fucking look at the
yeah.
poor
He's got
cunt.
it rough now.
Fuck, he's awful. His music is terrible. His music is fucking atrocious. But bro needs that attention. He needs to have that sort of spotlight, that sort of love, because he has no idea how to feel love otherwise. I feel so sorry for him because that's the kind of shit that these fucking child actors put up with, and then they're so starving for it the rest of their lives that they have to turn to being either cringe or complete sellouts in order to just feel some semblance of fucking normality. And it's gross. I feel so fucking bad for him. Just wish his music was better. I really wanted to like it. Not just because it's him, because because of the pit of guilt I always feel in my stomach on behalf of these people, because I know what it's like to crave that attention, but fortunately I have very healthy ways of processing that. These people don't. Like, these people are beyond famous. Like, to a point where Michael Jackson had to rent out a supermarket so that he could go shopping by himself, just to see what that was like. He had to shut
Yeah.
down a supermarket. Even then, there was hundreds of people outside waiting to get in, hounding the door. You know, like it's yeah. It just makes you feel sick. It makes you feel yuck for these people who deserve better. You know, like it just hurts. It's awful. But yeah, to cut a long story short, I won't be making that fucking video. It was too hard to watch. This lady who put this other video together, it was like 55 minutes long, and it fucking slapped, man. It was like tons of information, tons of old school clips, real in depth. Fucking, you know what? I'll shout her out. I don't know if anyone's gonna even bother listening, watching it or whatever. But it was just such a well put together video that I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it. It's called Child Stars: The Dark History of Hollywood's Golden Age. It's 48 minutes long, and it is by a creator called Serena G. Unsure if anyone's ever going to watch it or whatever, but yeah, like it's just amazing. It talks about everyone from Bobby Driscoll to Shirley Temple to Jackie Cooper, Jackie Coogan. Just some fantastic actors and actresses. Fuck, I watched a lot of YouTube today. Jesus Christ, it's amazing I still have a job. Wild.
Yeah, I've been putting in a very small amount of effort at work recently, just because so today I was at work and I was looking at a piece of paper with a whole bunch of like product codes, and I looked at it and I was like, what the fuck am I actually doing?
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
Because I was just done with it really.
Yeah.
Because it's just fucked.
Couple more weeks, bro. Couple more weeks. Just dig deep.
Yeah, but then I have to go back.
But like, there's always a way out. Always. Like, and it doesn't happen straight away, but there's always a way out. Even if you have to move back over here, and we have to do the fucking podcast in person. I got a beautiful studio right here. We could get some serious numbers, being just handsome on screen. Okay, you could get a job over here pretty easy. Like, there's always options. Even if, like, obviously I know you don't want to move back. I know that your missus doesn't want to move back. All that stuff. But at the very last resort, if you ever needed to, you always can. 100%.
Yeah, I know that. I don't think. I don't think we kind of we really need to at the moment now that the old ball and chain has a job now. So. Yeah, no, I think we just extended our lease as well, so we'll be here until December, and then
Oosh.
from there we want to find a small 2-bedroom place somewhere in the burbs. So not good. Yeah, so that's the plan at the moment anyway. Because once I get a nice 2-bedroom place, and then um. I'll be able to make way better videos because I won't feel I get what's what I'm looking for, because I wasn't able to record a video when I was in Masterton, but I recorded a podcast, and it just felt free, like I was in the pool house and I was just able to be myself.
Oh, yeah, dude.
And I don't really feel like I can do that here, because I'll start to try and do it, and then I'll slowly start to like restrict myself, and then I'll just cocoon, and it just doesn't work. Um, which is really annoying, and there's not really much I can do about it you know, until we find a little 2-bedroom place. But again, that's going to be a while away, so
Yeah.
until
I mean,
then,
you just, like, without sounding like a broken record, there is just a level of full send you need to have, that obviously is just a little bit daunting for you at the moment. But I reckon it'll come. Like, if you're going to be in this place until December, you are going to have to find that voice. Like, it's a must. Because you can't be Sergeant Sexy voice, like, every single week. Because no one can fucking hear you. Like, that's the number one for the lads over this side of the hill, when I talk to them about your content, or when they bring it up, which happens a lot more than you think, the first thing they mention is, I can't fucking hear him.
Yeah, but like, it's as much as I would like to try and be louder, I can't do it. I've tried in so many videos now, and every time I try to do it, it's just not it. It's just
Do
something
you have
that
a
I
closet?
struggle with. Yeah, but it's tiny and there's shit in it.
That's probably better. Like, would you would you consider making like faceless content?
Yeah, maybe. I guess it really depends on what content I'd make. Um,
So the same caliber of content. Like you'd still be making deep dives into various things, in terms of YouTube and pop culture and stuff like that. But if you were to make faceless content, you could jump into the closet that's got clothes and shit in it, and that's going to soak up a lot of your sound. So not only are you getting the benefit of being able to speak a little bit louder, you're also getting the benefit of not having any reverb kickback from your microphone. So you're going to have a nice, clean audio track to go with your video. Just a thought, like if it, if,
yeah, I
it, if
could
it's
do
going to
that.
be
I just
another.
like if I were to use the closet, I would have to like I'm just lazy. I would have to take a lot of shit out. Because it's not a huge closet and it's already fairly cramped.
It
But
was just it
I'll
was
like
just an
I'm
idea,
sure.
if it's anything.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm sure I'll be able to pick it up at some point. Um, but yeah, obviously, like the main goal for me is gaming content. That's what I've always wanted to make, and that's what I will
Yeah,
make at some point in the future.
absolutely.
Um, what are your specs?
Who's specs?
Mm. Oh, so because I've got the PC currently that my mate Nate built me for free. Shout out Nate, he's a good boy.
Big up, mate.
Um, but the plan is what I want to do is I want to get like a slightly better gaming PC so I can use that for screen recording for gaming and then editing and such. And then I'm
Hmm.
going to use that PC and chuck it in the TV so I can stream, like not so we can watch stuff. Because I've cancelled my Disney Plus. I don't have Amazon. I've got Netflix, but that's with the broadband for Spark. Um,
Yeah.
because it's all just getting a bit too expensive. And I watch YouTube most of the time. And if I'm watching and if I'm not watching YouTube, I'm watching fucking Family Guy or American Dad or The Simpsons on Disney Plus. But I would prefer to just fucking have like just chuck the PC in the TV, get like a wireless keyboard and mouse, and then just have like 1, 2, 3 movies or something, so we could watch essentially whatever we want, whenever we want. Um, but again, I'm poor, so that's kind of where I'm at the moment. So that's why I'm currently, while listening to you, I'm also currently on Facebook Marketplace. Looking at PCs, this one has RGB fans. Oh, it's got a 1070. No thanks. I have one that's a bit less.
So
Good.
have you
Um,
what components do you have at the moment? So what does your system
what have I got in
information say?
there?
Like when you yeah.
I'd have to turn it on.
Oh,
But
okay,
I
no
know
worries,
that
no
I
worries.
have I think I've got a 1050 graphics card. I think that's what's in there.
Okay,
I've got
that is
40
pretty
gigs
old.
of RAM.
No,
Um,
you don't. 40
no, I
gigs of
do.
RAM.
Yeah, absolutely. I had 8 gigs and then I got two 16 gig sticks, whacked it in, boom, 40 gig of RAM.
So what's the problem? Like so you've got 16 you've got 40 gigabytes of RAM.
Mm.
So just for argument's sake, right? So I've got a 3070 Ti in mine. I've literally yesterday upgraded to a 3 terabyte NAS HDD. So I've got 3 terabytes of internal storage now, which means this bitch runs crispy. And I've only got 16 gigabytes of RAM.
So the 1050 is like 8 years old.
Yeah, it is.
Um, I I also I probably need more SSD because this only has I think it has a bit less than a terabyte. Um,
That's heaps still. Like that's actually a lot when you
I know,
when
yeah,
you think
yeah.
about it.
But uh, the main thing. for me is well, not the main thing. One of the things is in order for me to like when I get a capture card, if I want to try and record my gaming footage, like obviously you have to hook in the PS5 to the PC, and with the current setup, it's just not feasible. I'd have to do a lot of maneuvering. I'd have to try and make different things work because I'm already running a lot of cable. Um, uh, and yeah, it's
But from
just
what you
trying to
told
get.
me, from what you told me, the specs that you already have, you just need to upgrade your GPU and you should be fine. 40
Yeah,
gigabytes
but
of
like
RAM, just shy of a
yeah,
terabyte of SSD.
yeah, but
What kind of
if I
processor do you have?
upgrade, I couldn't tell you. Not off the
Okay,
top of my head anyway.
it's a secret.
But if I were to upgrade the GPU, I would probably also have to upgrade the case, which because then I would also have to get a power supply for the GPU if I were to upgrade that. Because currently, this like the GPU just hooks straight into the PC, doesn't need a power supply. The only other graphics card that I can get without having to get a power supply, I actually think it is a 1070 maybe. But
Yeah,
again, that's like a year newer than that one, which
yeah.
means it will
1070
event
won't do
like
what you need it to do.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
like
tell you
current
what.
at the
Let
moment,
me have a dig around and see what I can find. Because I should even if because I know somewhere here I have a power supply that you can just fucking have. Like I know I've got a power supply here that used to
yeah,
run a was it a 2070 that I used to have 2070 Ti. It was like a special edition Ti as well. It was a really nice GPU, but I've got a power supply somewhere here kicking around that I will find and I'll bring over for you when I come over on Friday. Um,
yeah,
and we'll just see. Like, I might even be able to find you a GPU between now and then. I'll install it for you. This is what I do for a living. So that I can help. Is what I'm trying to say. Like,
I know, yeah, I do appreciate that. Now I just got to try and the next thing is
just don't go spending
figuring
any fucking
out.
money. Like that's like my main concern. We've got 2 weeks until Europe, and
I'm not no. So the whole PC thing that's for well after the trip.
okay, cool.
Because the plan is after the trip I stay at my current job for a bit longer, and then I go and do this like HelloFresh thing.
Yeah,
And then I essentially have more time to do YouTube stuff, which means that at some point in the future, unfortunately, the Louie's Lounge channel I probably won't be uploading to much if at all, um, because I want to focus solely on the one thing that I've wanted to do forever, and that's make gaming videos. Um,
do it. Honestly, like I feel like
so
you would fucking rip when it comes to gaming videos, bro. So at
that's the
this point,
plan.
you'd be fucking you'd be stupid not to. To be honest with you, like just
Yeah,
after the work you've put in to get where you are when it comes to like the quality of your videos and stuff, and we're learning all the fucking time. All of us are. Like I feel like
yeah,
every time you upload, it should be better than your previous upload, and if it's not, then you need to double down and work on it again.
yeah.
So,
So that's the plan.
like,
I'll try and put out one more video before the trip because then that brings me to five full length videos, which I promised. Um, and they're pretty good. I'd say the Lonely Island video was definitely the best one I've made. It was the longest one it took me to make. Um, because that edit was soul crushing. Just because it was like, because I had the Friday off, and from like 11 till 8 was when I was editing, and I'd already done like maybe a week of editing before that.
yeah,
Um, and I mean, hopefully it shows in the video. Like, there's definitely some stuff that I tried. Uh, the whole I was proud of the Mario Kart bit. I thought that was really cool because I even had the same track music um from the initial intro, and then being able to put my face onto because that's something I'd never done before was like that
motion
small
tracking.
edit of putting, yeah, the motion tracking.
Yeah.
Um, and then I had my first kind of post credit scene, which I was pretty proud of.
Yeah, bro.
When
Honestly, like the
yeah,
eh, without um without pandering or telling you what to do, the one thing I found just that helped me with my editing and being able to do shit was the research that went into the development, if that makes sense. So like where I would pull up YouTube and just watch the same fucking Nakey Jakey video, Big Tug video, or whatever. Out of one of every like three videos, I would pull up how to do like like a Filmora tutorial or something, just like a new style of editing, something, some element that I hadn't thought of, like Filmora tutorials, and then you just scroll through it. It's like, oh fuck, that looks interesting, and you click it, make some notes or whatever, and it's like, sweet, I'm going to try this in my next video, or I'm not going to try this in my next video, but it was really informative or whatever, or I've learned something else,
yeah,
and just pick something new every video, like the fucking keyframing. Like in my Woodstock video where I'm like walking along the screen and then I keyframe myself into a fucking vortex and then I appear in this in this new year and then I vortex myself out into the same portal and I've used like I've chroma keyed the green screen footage for the portal. I've gone and got myself a new set of sound effects. I've keyframed myself to be smaller and smaller until I fit in the portal. I've put vocal effects on so it sounds like I'm going through a portal and that kind of stuff. Like all of that coming together, that whole process, it would have taken me about, like 20 minutes, half an hour. And I probably could have breezed through a lot of the video instead of mucking around doing that. But it just builds your skill. Like it's the same as learning
yeah,
an instrument or, like getting good at a video game. Like you're going to have to keep trying various shit in order to make it so that like you are going to get better and better all the time. And this is the kind of thing that helps. Like so one every 3 or 4 videos, pull up a fucking tutorial and be like, I want to learn how to do this, and fucking give it a go in your next video. Just fucking give it a whirl. Like and
yeah.
then you'll be amazed at how much cool shit you pick up.
So the next video is I'm going to talk about the Harlem Shake, and I'm going to make my own Harlem Shake. Uh, so I'm going to try and do that. Um,
Do it.
so we'll see how that goes. I mean, that shouldn't be too difficult. Um, but yeah, so that's the plan anyway. I'm not. I might try and get it out this week. If not, obviously next week before the trip. I've still got to script it. I've been pretty slack, I'll be honest, because I'll go to work to try and script, and then I'll be at work, and then it just sucks the life out of me because it's just so draining. It's
Yeah.
like I'll go like what happens more often than not is that I'll have lunch, and then I'll start having lunch, and then I'll have a customer walk in, and I'm like, cool, so I can't do this for the next 10 minutes. Or like there'll be fucking 20 orders that I have to get out by like 4 o'clock. And there's a new fella that started. He's supposed to like he's the internal account manager, and he's there. He's in the office the same hours that I am, so he doesn't go out on any meetings or anything like that. Um, but I still feel like I'm doing all the shit that I was already doing, like starting at
Yeah.
8, finishing at 5. Um, fucking serving the customers, doing the orders, controlling like all that shit that I was doing. Now there's just another guy there that will cover for me if I'm not there, which is cool. Which is cool. But again, I don't know. Like I just I still feel like there's not a huge amount of assistance. Um, so you know, uh,
I'm fucking sorry to hear that, man. That's like it's one of those things where like getting up every day, you kind of want to be able to have some sort of motivation where you don't feel like throwing yourself under a fucking bus instead of going to work.
yeah.
Like,
I fucking I get up and I'm like, fuck, I can't believe I have to do this again. I just like, it's getting to the point where I'm having like deja vu every day, but that's because every day is exactly the same.
yeah,
Like I get the bus, I go to work, I look at a piece of paper and all these fucking shit ass codes, and then I see what's there, and then I get emails about fucking orders, and other shit, and then I fucking have to serve customers that expect the world, even though they're a bunch of cunts, and blah de blah de blah. Um, and it's just like it's a well-paying job, you know. It's the best paying job I've had, but like
Yeah.
it's not worth it. It's just not worth
No.
it for me to be so mentally drained all the time.
Bro, happiness is the key,
Um,
and stress is the silent killer. And this is what a lot of people don't understand is that like it's one thing to go to work to, support yourself, support your family, whatever form that might come in. Like the mental strength that people before us had to have in order to just be completely blasé enough to, just trudge through the work and be miserable without abusing alcohol or taking it out on their families or abusing drugs or whatever, is the reason why that's so rare is because it's almost impossible to do that. Like for
yeah,
people like look, I'm not going to name any names just in case they're listening to the podcast or whatever, but I think you know exactly who I'm talking about when I say that, someone who hated their
oh
line of
yeah,
work and abused a certain substance, which then spilled over into other, forms of abuse, is, like it was rampant, especially during that, that generation and the generation beforehand. So it kind of stands to reason that because there's not a lot of that shit going on in this day and age, there's a huge amount of mental health issues, especially when it comes to young people who feel as though they're trapped in their line of work because they feel like there's no other way out. And that's really fucking sad.
yeah,
But yeah, like if you're listening to this and you're having doubts about yourself, man, fucking, head up fucking Youthline, head up something, like just go and see someone. There's always a fucking way out. Always. Doesn't matter what it is. If it's your job you're unsatisfied with, if it's a relationship you're unsatisfied with, like any sort of situation, you might feel like it's fucking hopeless or whatever, but I promise you it's not. I promise you it's not. As someone who has been to the darkest depths and almost decided that enough was enough, in various walks of my life, I can promise you there is always a way out. So yeah, hit up those people. And you might be down in the dumps right now, or you might be on top of the world right now, but I promise you, either way those things shake out, this shall also pass. Everything passes. So just breathe. That's probably the main thing. At the moment,
yeah. No, absolutely.
got so much to look forward to. I feel like I'm not looking forward to the post-holiday blues because I know that shit's going to fucking crush. I know that I'm going to get home and I'm not going to have like a big holiday to look forward to or any of that sort of shit. And I know it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt a lot. It's going to hurt as much as the post-Battle of the Bands blues. Like, even though we won it, I came home the next day and I was fucking inconsolable. I sat outside and I was just depressed. It was cold. There was so much uncertainty about what was going on. It was awful. I almost wish I hadn't fucking won it sometimes. What a nightmare. Anyway, you know what always makes me feel better? Heading up the Jimothy. And I feel like you and I both have an appointment that we need to meet.
Are you going?
Well, at the moment, unfortunately, I can't, but I'm probably going to go for another walk. Just to, satiate the dog and try and get some form of exercise in. After that AC sprain, bro, I can't lift my arm past here. Like, I ended up at the hospital on Wednesday. I'm sure I told you this. I ended up in a sling and all that shit. Yeah, sweet. So, collarbone separated from the shoulder and stuff. I can scarcely lift my arm. So there's no way I'm going to the gym to lift weights or anything like that. Even if I just go sit on the cycle for a little bit, it's not a bad idea, to be honest. When I get back from the UK, I'm building a home gym though. That's my next step.
That'll be the way to go.
Yeah, I'm getting a exercycle, good set of weights, maybe a rowing machine, and I'm going to set up the garage so it's like half gym, half rumpus room, with like an arcade machine and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be a little paradise. It's going to be fucking mint. I'm reaching my middle-aged white man era.
That's the way. But
Oosh.
yeah, I mean, it's too late for me. I'll be honest. There's some shit that I want to do anyway, so I'll try and go tomorrow.
Nah, fair fucks, my guy.
Um,
Like it's just it's whatever suits. Like it's like it's one of those things that you can't force yourself, especially when it comes to exercise, because then you start to resent it. Like I do. I fucking hate the gym more than most things. I would sooner fold washing. And you of all people will know how much I fucking despise folding washing.
yeah, I used to live with it.
Oh yeah, all of it. All right, team. I'm going to finish up right here, right now, by wishing you a fucking. Honestly, I wish you guys the best rest of your week. By the time you're hearing this, it is Wednesday, the 19th of March. And you've got one more episode next week where we will be fucking chomping at the bit. And then the following episode we'll be recording on Sunday. You will be hearing on Wednesday, which we will be touching down in London town when you're listening to it. So, yeah, bit of a bumper episode coming that week, I think, because we kind of need to make sure we send ourselves off properly, finish off season 1 with a bang. As always, you can find us on Spotify and YouTube. You can find Louie's Lounge over on YouTube as well. BB Malloy on YouTube. You can find us both on TikTok, Instagram, wherever you find good content, man. We are there and we are pumping it out daily. So go through, follow us on them platforms, and we'll just catch you on the next one, man. Oosh.